The last 2 months of reading were quite a mixed experience. Hello and welcome back to Stitches and Books. My name is Becky and I'm going to be talking to you today about my March and April reading. March was a really great reading month for me. Really great. I haven't checked how many books I finished in March. Let me see if I can see that on here easily. I finished 6 books in March. A couple of those at the beginning of the month I'd mostly read in February, but it's just easier if I talk to you about them as I finish them rather than like majority reading. So I started off with finishing off The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood on the 1st of March. I really loved this book. I had a suspicion that I was going to enjoy it. It was definitely a hard read. Like, I'm not going to say, you know, I'm sure if you've read it, you will know that it's a fantastic book, but it is hard to read. If you haven't read it, definitely check trigger warnings, but it's so like emotional. It's so like there's a lot of reflecting to be done, a lot of thinking to be done after you've while you're reading it and after you finished it. Like, yeah, it's a really good read, but yeah, definitely check the trigger warnings. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely, having like a newborn at the time of reading it, definitely had like gave it a whole extra layer of like feelings while I was reading it. Like, I think if I'd read it before I was pregnant with Milo, before I had children, I definitely would have gotten more, or I would have definitely gotten different things out of it than I was maybe getting out of it now as a parent. Yeah, very interesting, obviously very interesting in the times that we are living in. So I'm really glad I read it, and I would like to read it again at some point, because I think that there's probably more in it that I will get out of it reading it like a second time through. Now that I kind of know what to expect from the story, reading it again and looking at some of the deeper parts of it, I probably would enjoy that. So that was a really good read, really nice start to the month. That I gave 5 stars. I'm just going to check that, but I'm pretty sure that I gave it 5 stars. Yep. So really loved that. I bought the second one, The Testaments. I haven't read it yet, but it is like on my TBR to come up pretty soon. But yes, haven't read it yet. Next, also finished on the 1st of March, was The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore. This is the 5th book in the Dream Harbour. I'm looking at my iPad, so like if you're wondering where I'm looking, it's the 5th book in the Dream Harbour series. I have enjoyed all of these books. This one was my favourite. I quite liked that it was slightly less spicy, sort of throughout the book. Like, the spice is definitely not as much of a central part of the book. Like in the first one, very spicy. And then the one, is it the 4th one? The Pancake House one, that's very spicy as well. This one, still very spicy, but it was more about relationships and like, I think for me, I found that sort of like, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm just trying to think about how I say what I want to say without spoiling it. The sort of forgiveness elements and like giving forgiveness and giving people space to explain what might have been going on. It was really interesting from the sort of point of view of like, it's really easy to judge people for the decisions that they've made and that the way situations were handled and things like that. So it was really interesting to reflect on maybe like holding grudges and things like that. So that was quite interesting. Reflective. Something that I wasn't necessarily expecting to get out of this kind of book, but was definitely like that interesting element of like, am I holding grudges that mean that I'm like missing out on something that could be really amazing? You know what I mean? So I really, really enjoyed that one. Like I said, it was my favourite one, and I gave it 5 stars. What did I give it? 4.5 stars? 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars. Yeah, really, really enjoyed that one, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one. Is that out now? The Daisy, that might be out actually. I might have to have a look at that. I'm looking forward to reading it because I really enjoy the way that each character and each pair of characters really get their own storyline, but you still get to hear about the other characters from like Dream Harbour. So I like that sort of kind of soap opera type way that it's been written. You get information about everybody, but each book is the focus on like a particular person or a particular couple. So I really like that. Next, finished on the 7th of March, and this actually took me, I want to see, because this was like, it was like a 4-day read for me. I read this one really quickly, and that is A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I'm like really debating whether or not I want to give it 5 stars, like change it. At the moment I'm going to leave it at 4.5, but I really, really enjoyed it. The setting is absolutely beautiful. If you're not sure what this is about, it is a cozy Victorian horror. It's got a very gothic feel to it. It's set in a botanical gardens, which I just thought was like an amazing setting for, well, like any book, but a horror book particularly. It's got like a slightly historical fiction nature to it, but not too heavy on that. If you're not interested in historical fiction, it's not a historical fiction, but it is like, it's set during Victorian times in England, so it's obviously like they don't have phones and computers and things like that. So I really loved the time period. I really loved the setting for the book. I really liked the characters. I really liked the idea behind it. I can't remember. I haven't got the book with me. I gave it to someone. Let me see if I can look on here. The like blurb. It's a botanical horror. So the people that live in the botanical gardens are 2 Victorian gentlemen, and one of them is a taxidermist and the other is a botanist, and together they like discover and create this living plant. And I just want to make sure that I don't spoil anything by saying anything else. Yeah, and this living plant becomes like their child. And that is, it's like Frankenstein kind of situation, but it is like really beautiful. It's just really, I've never been properly scared by a book that I've just been reading with my eyes. I read Metro 2033, which scared me because I was listening to it, so that was really creepy. But this is the first time I've read like a horror book and actually been scared, not because it's really scary, because it isn't really scary, but just because the way, there was just a couple of scenes that were just written really, really well. They were almost like jump scares, like, you know, lightning flashes, and like really the description was really immersive for me. So like when those like scenes were being described, it really brought the images to mind. So even though it wasn't like super scary, although there are a couple of like gory bits, it was just, I just never had such a sort of visual experience with a book before. So I really enjoyed that because that was great. There was one scene towards the end that I just felt, for me, I didn't need it. I didn't love how it was written, and it did give me a bit of the ick. And if you've read it, you'll probably know what I mean. Check the trigger warnings, and the trigger warnings will give you an idea of what the scene that I'm talking about might be. It's definitely not what I thought it was going to be from the trigger warnings, but it still is what it is, and I still got the ick. So definitely check that out. And that is the scene that kind of prevents me from being able to give it 5 stars, because I think the book would have been so good without it. I don't think it needed that scene. I don't think that storyline needed to come to that conclusion. I think we could have just been left with like less words about that situation, and we would probably still have gotten there in our minds. There's a way that could have been done, I think. So didn't love that scene, and that is what brought it down from being 5 stars for me, because yeah, ick. But such a fabulous book, and I would really like to read it again. Like, that's one of those books that I'm like, I really wish I could read that again for the first time, because it was so enjoyable. So loved that. I want that to be like my favourite book of the year, but I don't feel like I can do that for a book that I only gave 4.5 stars to. But maybe I can. I can make my own rules. Next, I read Wayward by Amelia Hart. This did get 5 stars. I really loved this book. Magical realism, multiple timelines. It was one of the best multiple timelines books I've read. I've read other sort of slightly magical, mystical books with multiple timelines, where there's like that link between the people, like the people in the timelines are linked somehow through like a mystical way. And it hasn't been done so well, but this was really beautifully done, really beautifully written, and I really enjoyed it. I can't think of anything else to say about it though. Why can I not? I think because it was just, I think I've seen a lot of people talk about it, heard a lot of people love it, so I just thought, well, I'm going to love that book. And then I read it and I did, so it wasn't like a surprise. With The Botanical Daughter, my mum had said that she'd started reading it and she'd stopped because she wasn't really enjoying it. And I was like, well, I'll give it a go. And then I loved it, so I was like excited about that. Whereas with Wayward, I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to love this book, because it's like everything that I love. Magical realism is like my favourite. The next book that I finished, the last book that I finished in, oh no, not the last book that I finished in March. Penultimate book that I finished in March was an audiobook called Cleopatra by Sarah El Arafi. This was fantastic. Who talked about this? I can't remember how I heard about this. Definitely on BookTube. Is it Books and Thoughts? Somebody who does these really beautiful, like sort of ASMR-y kind of book journaling videos. It's all very kind of relaxing, like not a lot of talking in quite a lot of her videos. I think it's Books and Thoughts. I'll leave it down below. And I think it was her who mentioned this book. She said she enjoyed it, but it was quite a passing kind of mention of it, if I remember correctly. And I was just like in the market for a new audiobook, and I got it, and I think I finished it in 2 days. Let me see. 24 hours. It's a 12-hour book, and I finished it in 24 hours. I absolutely loved it. This to me gave me very Alison Weir's 6 Tudor Queens sort of vibes, following this historic person through her life from her point of view. I knew very little about Cleopatra to begin with. Like I used to love ancient Egypt, but it was a lot less like actually the history of it. I just loved the idea of it. I didn't really actually know a lot about the ancient Egyptians. I just kind of found the idea of them fascinating. So yeah, I didn't really know. I hadn't realised where in history she fell. So I was really surprised to sometimes it just amazes me how vast the like ancient Egyptian like time period spans. I hadn't realised that she was Caesar's lover. Like that's one of those things where I'm like, how did I not know that? But maybe I did like in the recesses of my brain, and it had just never been something that I needed to like express, so I didn't know it. But yeah, so like it was absolutely fantastic. One of those books that, just like with the Six Tudor Queens, made me really want to know more about that time period, that character, the characters like surrounding her, things like that. Yeah, beautifully written and really well narrated. I read it on Libra FM. I'm like moving away from Audible as much as I can, and I'm using Libra FM, and they have a good mix at the moment. They're really building their library. It seems like when I first started, there wasn't an awful lot on there that I wanted to read, but now they seem to be getting a really good range of audiobooks. That's on there. Really, really enjoyed it. 5 stars. Check it out. And then the last book that I read in March was The Secret Book Society, a novel by Madeline Martin. I hadn't heard anything about this. I had a credit on Libra FM. Something about this spoke to me, and to start off with, I wasn't enjoying it. And then by the end, I couldn't stop listening. I was like, I had one earbud in, and as long as one of my children wasn't talking to me, I was listening. It was like that good. I gave it 4 stars. And it is about a book club in Victorian London that has been set up to help women who are being, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're being oppressed in some way by like a man in their life, whether it's like their father or maybe sort of society in general or their husband. These women have all suffered in some way at the hands of a man, and they are invited to this book club, and the book club is a secret, so everybody thinks they're going to afternoon tea, but actually they're going to read books, and they help each other. It's about friendship and like being women together and like the power of women and things like that. So I really enjoyed this one. I can't remember exactly why it didn't get 5 stars. I think it was just there were points where I did feel like it was maybe a little bit slow, but mostly I enjoyed it. It's definitely one I would recommend if you quite like. I've just heard that the baby's woken up, but he's fine. I really enjoyed it. If you like sort of slightly not mysterious, but like books with like secrets that become like told and unraveled as the story goes along, that kind of thing I really enjoyed. So that was March. So it was 6 books in March, and then April I finished 1 book. April was, I'm going to allow April to be my slump month. I listened to 1 book, and that was right at the end of April. I got approved for the Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst on NetGalley. So I got a copy of that, and I listened to it to leave a review and really enjoyed it. That is the only book that I really touched. I picked up and looked at like a couple of pages of a couple of other books, and that is it. But I'm allowing myself that month, and now I would really like to get back into reading. So The Faraway Inn is a magical realism. There's that genre again that I love. It is fun, it's amusing, it's cozy and mysterious and magical, and it was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. The narrator is very good, and the characters were really lovely. It is young adult, which I hadn't realised when I signed up to try and get a copy. And I don't find that I get on with YA anymore. But this one, to me, where it says YA, having read it, I feel like it's more of just like a cozy, easy reading. Like, it's not masses of world building with like loads of deep lore or anything. And there's no spice. So if you like no spicy, cozy reads, then I would say that like go for this one. Like, there's a little bit of like teenage romance, but it's minimal, and a lot of cozy books have romance in them anyway. So if you're okay with a bit of romance and you're okay with cozy magical realism, like humor, very like easy ready, I would say go for it, because it was so lovely, and it is my first Sarah Beth Durst book, and I gave it 5 stars, and I am really, really excited to get on and read some of her adult fiction, because this has just sort of set me up. Yes, I love her writing. And that was it. 7 books over the last 2 months. That brings me to 22 books, I think, so far this year, and I'm happy with my progress so far. I've got 2 more months of reading before halfway through the year, so I'm probably going to do like a mid-year wrap-up and see where we're at. But I've got quite a few books that I'm excited to be reading at the moment, and I'm hoping that they're going to pull me out of this slump. I'm listening to some good audiobooks, and yeah, hopefully. And that's where my microphone ran out of battery, so I will take that as a sign that I just gabbled on for far too long after that point. And I will just say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.